Memories of Glenn Miller. This is Chuck Cecil with the 6th of a 12-hour survey of the man and his music. Along with the original recordings, there are the personalities who shared the bandstand, helping Glenn Miller make music and memories.
When the horns start appearing, I get scared. I just turn my back on them and start to sing.
Recordings is merely a faint reminder of what the live sound of the band was.
He wouldn't have squeaked in Miller's band.
Country dance was being held in a garden. I felt a bump and heard an "oh, beg your pardon." Suddenly I saw polka dots and moonbeams all around a pug-nosed dream. The music started and was I the perplexed one? I held my breath and said, "May I have the next one?" In my frightened arms, polka dots and moonbeams sparkled on a pug-nosed dream. There were questions in the eyes of other dancers as we floated over the floor. There were questions, but my heart knew all the answers, and perhaps a few things more. Now in a cottage built of lilacs and laughter, I know the meaning of the words ever after, and I'll always see polka dots and moonbeams when I kiss the pug-nosed dream.
Polka Dots and Moonbeams, recorded by the Glenn Miller Orchestra, February 24th, 1940. One of 6 numbers recorded at session number 35, RCA Victor Studios, New York City. Chummy McGregor, playing piano at the session, remembers Glenn Miller becoming too ill to appear with the orchestra at its opening at the Paramount Theater 4 days later.
He was always vulnerable to a sinus condition, and now he picked up an infection. He stuck it out for a couple of nights, but it steadily worsened. He went to bed in his hotel suite, but 2 nights later he took a turn for the worse, and they carted him off to the hospital in an ambulance. When he went out of the hotel that night, he looked awful, and knowing him, if he couldn't walk out under his own steam, I knew he was in pretty bad shape. On top of this, we were due to open the next day at the Paramount Theater for a return engagement. First show, 8 a.m., with the kids lined up all around the block. We decided McIntyre had better lead the band on stage. He was always very outgoing, made friends everywhere. I called him Joe Rotary. Under the circumstances, we all thought he'd be the most personable one to front it. Well, do you know what? He was awful. Talk about stage fright, he was frozen with terror. By noon, the word seemed to have gotten around the street that Glenn was not there, and the usual crowd of kids milling around the stage door at all hours dwindled to a handful. And from noisy, packed houses, kids dancing in the aisles, it tapered off to a nice, sedate audience of about 2/3 capacity. I couldn't understand it. I had never figured Glenn to be that important from the front. Naturally, we all knew how important he was to the band, but he never sold himself to an audience. Just quietly did what he was supposed to do with no flamboyancy or show business flair at all. You know how some band leaders carry on. Glenn had none of that, and now, lo and behold, the people were staying away. In other words, he's the one they'd come to see. I just couldn't get over it. It was plain that something had to be done, so it was arranged to have different band leaders front the band at each show. Charlie Barnett, Woody Herman, Tommy, Russ Morgan, Gene Krupa. Everyone who was in town took a turn at it, and somehow we got through the first week.
Miller was back during the second week, ending with a gross of almost $100,000. In addition, there were the commercial broadcasts on CBS and sustaining shows from the Pennsylvania Hotel. It was a busy time for Glenn Miller, memory maker. Yours Is My Heart Alone from Glenn Miller recording session number 36, March 31st, 1940, New York City. Trumpeter Johnny Best was getting to know his new leader.
He wanted, the band to look good to the public. And to, of course, he wanted to act like gentlemen, shall we say.
Stepping out with a memory tonight to paint the town the way we used to do. I'll dine at the old cafe where we had so much fun, and order cocktails for two instead of the usual one. Then after dark, in a hansom through the park, while reminiscing, I'll be kissing you. A lot of folks may think that I'm crazy. Well, maybe they're right, but I'm stepping out with a memory tonight.
I'm Stepping Out with a Memory, second of 6 sides made at record session number 36. Ray Eberly, who sang the words, will be heard in a moment, remembering the role he played as band vocalist for Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.
The singers were in the background then, and members of the band, sidemen like Tex, were the people that used to get autographs, you know. But I don't ever remember any problem or anything where girls were trying to break in the guys' dressing rooms or anything like that. It just never occurred. It was a different situation, I think.
And so I come to you, my love, my heart above my head. Though I see the danger there, if there's a chance for me, then I don't care. Where wise men never go, but wise men never fall in love, so how are they to know? When we met, I felt my life begin, so open up your heart and let this fool rush in.
The Glenn Miller Orchestra in recording session number 37, Ray Eberly singing the words to Fools Rush In, the last day of March, 1940. It was one of 4 sides recorded that day in the life of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker. During April 1940, Glenn Miller temporarily changed his home base from New York to Washington, D.C., concluding a 3-month engagement at the Pennsylvania Hotel. The band played one-nighters: Bucknell University, Sunnybrook Ballroom, Roseland Ballroom, the Coliseum in Baltimore, where he drew a record-breaking 6,500, then to the Wardman Park Hotel in Washington, D.C., for personal appearances and commercial broadcasts. 3 nights there, then to VMI, the Valencia Ballroom, back to the Wardman Park. Then the University of Virginia, Duke University, Planters Warehouse, back to the Wardman Park. Then George F. Pavilion, Hofstra College, and then just before returning to New York for session number 38, he added musician Zeke Zarchi to his trumpet section.
So I joined the band, and I enjoyed it very much. It was a little different than Tommy Dorsey's band that I had just come out of. I would say that Tommy's band was probably all around the best band I'd ever worked in, for ballads, swing, or you name it, and getting lessons every night from Tommy himself, whether we realized it or not.
From recording session number 38, My Blue Heaven, recorded on April the 28th of 1940. The band came into New York City to the RCA Victor Studios from Washington, D.C. for the session. The best remembered number from that day was a Jerry Gray composition. He titled it Pennsylvania 65000, the phone number of the Pennsylvania Hotel, where the band had so recently been so successful.
That's where he came out of an arrangement I did for Glenn from a tune called Dipsy Doodle, Larry Clinton's tune. And the figure in the background later became Pennsylvania 65000. And Glenn got the idea that I should write an original out of that, which I did, and we titled it Pennsylvania 65000 after the Pennsylvania Hotel where we were working.
Jerry Gray's composition Pennsylvania 65000, recorded shortly after the band left the Pennsylvania Hotel, and recorded, ironically, while the band was appearing at the Wardman Park Hotel in Washington, D.C. It would become yet another Glenn Miller million-selling performance. This is Chuck Cecil with a chronological presentation of the 71 commercial recording sessions performed by a Glenn Miller orchestra. Selections heard in this 12-hour period are the originals. Voices are those of musicians, arrangers, and vocalists who made records with Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill, on Blueberry Hill, when I found you. The moon stood still on Blueberry Hill and lingered until my dreams came true. The wind in the willow played love's sweet melody, but all of those vows we made were never to be. Though we're apart, you're part of me still, for you were my thrill on Blueberry Hill.
Glenn Miller recording session number 39. And now, for the first time, the band was making records away from New York City. Throughout the month of May, the tempo of one-nighters had increased, leading the band to Chicago and the RCA Victor Studios there. It was the 13th of June, 1940. Arranger Bill Finnegan had gone along with the band.
I had so much to do at that time that I was just busy cranking them out, you know.
How many hours a day would you work, or hours a night, or do you remember?
Oh, I'd work mostly at night when it was quiet, and usually all night long, like many other guys.
You work with a piano?
Oh, with it and without it, either way. Usually with the piano, it's a little helpful, but sometimes I'd go out on the road with the band and work in a hotel room.
Did Miller like for you to go out on the road with him when the band was going out?
Yeah, he liked me to be around, you know, that he didn't like too much time to go by without me showing up. They'd work out of Chicago for a period of time, so I'd go out and stay in Chicago. Then they'd do one nighters out of town, and they'd do their radio program in Chicago. So I'd be on the scene.
Swallows come back to Capistrano. That's the day you promised to come back to me. When you whispered farewell in Capistrano, 'twas the day the swallows flew out to the sea. All the mission bells will ring, the chapel choir will sing, the happiness you'll bring will live in my memory. When the swallows come back to Capistrano, that's the day I pray that you'll come back to me.
Blueberry Hill and When the Swallows Come Back to Capistrano, two of the 6 sides recorded by the Glenn Miller Band in Chicago, June 13th, 1940. There would be another month spent in that area by the orchestra of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.
In those days, a guy and his date would drive 200 miles across the state of Iowa or someplace in the Middle West just to stand around and watch a band all night long. So we knew that it would reflect on us if we didn't have our haircuts or clean shirts or suits pressed and things like that. So most of us kept ourselves pretty well in line.
Trumpeter Zeke Zarchi, remembering the Glenn Miller Band playing the Civic Theater in Chicago, July 1940.
never smile again until I smile at you. I'll never laugh again. What good would it do? For tears would fill my eyes, my heart would realize that our romance is through. I'll never love again, I'm so in love with you. I'll never thrill again to somebody new. Within my heart, I know I will never start to smile again until I smile at you.
Glenn Miller's orchestra broadcasting from Chicago the night of July 11th, 1940. Tex Beneke was there, remembered his leader's demands of the players, especially the reed men.
Oh, he wouldn't stand for anybody to squeak. This to him was just the most horrible thing in the world. If a guy squeaked on his reed squeaked or whatever. Actually, a lot of clarinet and sax players do squeak a lot, which I can't understand why. It just shouldn't happen. The guy's blowing wrong, he's using the wrong embouchure, or his reed and mouthpiece setup is not proper. But to them, it doesn't seem to matter, that's part of it. Well, I squeak, so what? But he wouldn't have squeaked in Miller's band.
For another month, the Miller Band would unsqueakingly work out of Chicago, appearing at the Sherman Hotel, then one-nighting in Green Bay, St. Louis, Kansas City, Sioux City, Clear Lake, Russell's Point, Louisville, Buckeye Lake, Carrolltown, and then back to New York City to continue the saga of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.
It was kind of rough, especially if you were with a band that was a popular band and had a lot of work. Like, for instance, we had when we were in New York, we'd play the Pennsylvania. What was the Pennsylvania at that time? Pennsylvania Hotel. And we had 3 days a week of the Chesterfield program, plus playing the Paramount Theater for a couple of weeks right in the same time, And we'd do 5 to 7 shows at the Paramount, and it was rough work. Actually, it was a little relaxing to get out on the road because you didn't have to work quite so hard. Of course, you had to travel.
But by the 8th of August, 1940, the band, including trumpeter Dale McMickle, was settling down again in New York for recording session number 40.
day is through. It's the call of the canyon. Once again I'm dreaming of you. Every night I search the moonlight up and down the river shore. It's the call of the canyon. Maybe I will see you once more. Standing there alone by the ashes of a fire we said would never die. Will I ever find an ember burning from the days gone by? Then I hear a lonely whisper as a little spark I see. It's the call of the canyon, bringing back your answer to me.
Call of the Canyon, one of 4 sides from session number 40 for the orchestra of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.
Hop a bus, take a car, hail a cab, and there you are on Fifth Avenue. Every Joe, every Jane walks along that dreamer's lane on Fifth Avenue, where they stop, windows shop, and their hopes are so high, pricing rings, pretty things that they can't afford to buy. But they smile, they don't care, everyone's a millionaire when they're strolling on Fifth Avenue. Hello there, Tex. How's the old cowhand? What you out shopping on Fifth Avenue, man?
Why, I'm shopping for shafts. Sunday pair got musk. I tried to bust a bronco, but the bronc wouldn't bust.
Do you ride that wild pony at the rodeo?
No, I ride that wild tenor in the Wild West show. We got a cowboy band that comes on. You love it.
Well, come on, man. Let me hear a little of it.
Recording session number 41, August 14th, 1940. Zig Zarchi in the trumpet section had a good view of the leader.
He had the weakest, what we call chops. And he admitted this. This was nothing that he attempted to hide. And as a result, when the going got rough, he would call a ballad, in which we didn't have to play. And he played first trombone in the section, which means the melody with the first lead trumpet. He played first trombone in the section as he stood in front of the band, and he played every trombone solo, despite the fact that there might have been other trombone players in the band that might have played prettier solos or had stronger lips. Yet he played everything because, as he told me, he says, this is what was expected of a leader.
Glow made a halo of your hair. Suddenly you looked at me and dreams began to rise. Oh, what things unspoken trembled in the air. Our hearts were madly beating, and then our lips were meeting, and Venus seemed to melt right into Mars. Then while we stood caressing, blue heaven sent a blessing, a shower of a handful of stars. Blue heaven sent a blessing, a shower of a handful of stars.
Fifth Avenue and a Handful of Stars, two of the four sides from the middle of August in the year of 1940. And that concludes the 6th hour, which brings us to the halfway point in our 12-hour remembrance of Glenn Miller, Memory Maker.